Hi, this is James Sondriger here at Juniper Networks Education Services. Are you familiar with our learning paths? We offer 14 different paths covering the Junos OS and specific Juniper technologies. Each path shows the courses we offer and the relevant certifications in the order we suggest to maximize your learning. Just visit www.juniper.net/learningpaths to get started. When you click on a track, you'll see all the courses in that track and the associated certifications. You can click each course or certification to view more details. If you follow a learning path, you'll get the most from your training with Juniper Networks. Now, let's get to your Learning Byte.
Hello and welcome to the NorthStar Controller Learning Byte. My name is Gordon Mosley. Let's get started. I recommend you watch this Learning Byte if your goal is to automate and centrally control your MPLS environment, if you have a need to place more traffic on your network at a lower cost, and want to use traffic engineering to optimize the performance of your MPLS network, welcome to the NorthStar Controller. Let's start first by explaining what the NorthStar Controller is. The NorthStar Controller is a software-defined networking solution, and the key here is that it allows an administrator to centralize and automate the creation of traffic-engineered, label-switched paths across a service provider or a large enterprise network. It also centralizes the complex path computations necessary to optimize the flow of MPLS traffic across your network. It uses routing protocols, primarily BGP with the link state address family enabled to learn your network topology, your destinations, and also traffic engineering information. It also uses the path computation element protocol to peer with your provider edge routers and learn of existing label switch paths, manage them, and also create new ones dynamically. Here's a graphical representation of what we just discussed. The three things that the NorthStar Controller does for me, starting in the graphic, is analyze the existing network. It uses routing protocols, as we mentioned previously, primarily BGP with the link state address family enabled, to peer with a route reflector. Once it learns the destinations and traffic engineering information, it can now optimize the network. There's a path computation component that can use the learned traffic engineering information to determine the optimal paths for label switch paths across the network. And then Virtualize uses the path computation element protocol to peer with the provider edge routers and distribute the new label switched path configuration. Let's look at the NorthStar Controller interface. This is the NorthStar Controller Administrative Interface. It's broken down into three main sections. The first one we'll discuss is the Topology Map section. This displays information about the discovered nodes on the network and the links that connect them together. There's also a console portion where you can receive general information about the status of the NorthStar Controller itself, and also a section where you can see information about the status of any label switched paths. At the bottom is the network info portion of the interface, where you can see nodes that have been discovered on the network, information about the links that connect those nodes, how much bandwidth's available, what the IP addresses are on the individual links, and also key to our discussion today is the information about tunnels. The Tunnels tab contains information about all of the LSPs that have been discovered and created through NorthStar. Now that you understand the basic structure of the administrative interface, let's use it to build a label switch path. I would like to build a label switch path between the MX101 device and the MX104 device. To do that, along the bottom of the NorthStar Controller Administrative Interface is an Add button. And if I click on that, I have the ability to build many different tunnel types. Now, in the time I have in this Learning Byte, I'm only going to have the ability to build one tunnel between those two devices. So when I click on Add Tunnel, the Add Tunnel interface appears. Now, the required information is a name for the tunnel. We'll call it Demo Tunnel. And I must select the two nodes that I would like to use to establish this label switched path. And so in the drop-down menu, I'm going to select VMX 101. And the egress node I would like to be VMX 104. I also have the option to make this a bi-directional tunnel. Have VMX 101 be both an ingress for a tunnel going to VMX 104 and also be an egress node for a tunnel coming from the ingress node of VMX 104. So I'm going to make two bi-directional tunnels here. Now remember, NorthStar understands traffic engineering, so I am also allowed to specify bandwidth that this tunnel requires. I can specify a setup or a hold priority, and there are many more options. Some of the advanced properties allow me to specify the administrative groups that I would like to use to establish this tunnel. I can specify information by clicking on the Type button, such as maximum delay, maximum hop count, how I would like this tunnel to be routed. In the Paths tab, I'm literally allowed to go in and specify explicit route objects. I would like this tunnel to be established between VMX 101 and VMX 104, but I can literally specify every single transit router in the path. I can specify primary paths, secondary paths, standby paths, all through the NorthStar Controller interface. I'm also allowed to schedule a label switch path. By default, once the label switch path is provisioned, it's always available. But perhaps I have a customer who has a large event coming up, a new product rollout. I can specify that this label switch path is available for a one-time event or a daily occurrence. This label switch path would be instantiated. But by default, once the tunnel is created and provisioned, it is always available. Once I've finished configuring all the properties of my new tunnel, I click Add. Select OK, and now I can close the Add Tunnel dialog box. At the bottom of my screen, I can see my new demo tunnel. Now remember, we provisioned two one-way tunnels between VMX 101 and VMX 104. Now, the tunnels are created inside of NorthStar, but the configuration has not been pushed out to the actual networking devices. I can see in the NorthStar interface, if I scroll to the right, that these tunnels are in the planned state. And again, that simply means the configuration is in NorthStar, but it has not been provisioned out to the devices. To provision the tunnel, I simply select them, and at the bottom of my screen, I will select the Provision button. I'll provision the selected tunnels, and once I click on OK, at this point, the new label switch path configuration is sent out to the two devices. Once the tunnels have been provisioned, I can also use NorthStar to view the path that was used to establish the tunnels. I can right-click on the tunnels and select Show Path in the menu that appears. A Paths dialog box shows up and allows me to view in tabular format the entire path of the particular label switch path. In this case, the label switch path from VMX 101 to 104. I can also click on the other tunnel that we established from VMX 104 to back to 101. And I can also follow the yellow highlighted lines in the topology map interface to view graphically the path the tunnel is taking. Let's connect to VMX 101 using Secure Shell and use operational mode commands to verify the establishment of the tunnel. For this example, I've secure shelled into VMX 101, and I'm going to run an operational mode command. It's show MPLS LSP externally provisioned, and it shows me label switch paths that this device has received configuration for from the NorthStar controller. Now, if you'll remember, our tunnel was named Demo Tunnel, and I can see that here. I'm thinking positive, and I'm very happy I did because it's up, and I can see the two devices involved in this. I can see that the tunnel was initiated from VMX 101, and the egress device, the tunnel is established all the way to VMX 104. So this is a way inside of the Junos CLI I'm able to view the results of my configuration from the NorthStar controller. Thank you for watching this Learning Byte about the NorthStar Controller. In this Learning Byte, we described the NorthStar Controller functionality. We learned how to navigate the NorthStar Controller interface, and we used it to create a bi-directional label-switched path between a pair of nodes. For more information about NorthStar, please visit our website. Thank you very much.
Visit the Juniper Education Services website to learn more about courses. View our full range of classroom, online, and e-learning courses. Learning paths, industry segment and technology-specific training paths. Juniper Network's certification program, the ultimate demonstration of your competence. And the training community, from forums to social media. Join the discussion.